Hi guys, welcome back to the 401 Files. Let me first start by saying it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Ben, and here on the 401 Files I talk about all things thought-provoking, i.e. Bigfoot, extraterrestrials, UFOs, and even the paranormal. If you're interested in that stuff, guys, then please do subscribe while you're here. Click the thumbs up and drop down in the comments box below. Even now you can do that. Just drop straight down, say hi, let me know what you guys have been up to, and if you've had any experiences amongst any of those categories that I just mentioned. It's always nice to hear people's stories and hear what you guys have been up to as well. For anyone that, like I said, is new here, I'm at Camp Base. This is a base that I've been building up in a hotspot here in the UK for some of these strange reports of wildman sightings and UFOs. And the idea is to stay here for as long as possible. Not continually, but I do frequent this base quite a lot. And because it is in a hotspot, I want to start setting up cameras. I want to set up lasers and hopefully some kind of a transmitter that will beam out this location into space if possible. These are all things that I'm working on. And over the last few weeks, if you go back through my older videos, you'll have seen the progression of this camp take shape. Now, camp is starting to look really, really good at this point. There isn't really too much more to do. I've got to build a wall today. It will be the biggest wall here at camp, and it's going to go from this tree here to this one here. So if I can get that done before nightfall, which is in about 2 hours time, then that will be a large chunk of the work done around camp. The rest will just be luxurious things like extra chairs, maybe some shelving units and things like that. But along the way, guys, like I say, kick back, relax, because I will be speaking and talking to you guys about some of these things that have been playing on my mind recently, and one of those is the CE5 protocol. But yeah, kick back, guys. I'm waffling on right now, so relax and enjoy. My anxiety is extremely high today. Well, not today, it wasn't until I got here. It's deadly quiet, like too quiet for my liking. Normally when I come here there's birds at least chirping or something. Not one single bird. This is like really strange and out of character for this place, because like I've said, you listen back to any of my old footage when I'm talking, the birds chirping, the wind's going through the trees. It's just deadly quiet now. I don't know why. Again, it's probably nothing, but I think that does always amp up the anxiety in a place like this. Best be wary now, because the top, which is quite a large section, has snapped and got snagged in this little bit of a clearing. So if that does fall at any point, it could potentially fall on my head. So that's definitely something to be wary of. I might try and get that down at some point. I just want to say a big thank you to somebody here in the UK before I forget to do this. And that's Andy McGrath. I'm sure that a lot of you here on the channel will have heard of Andy McGrath. He's the author of the books Beasts of Britain. Very well respected guy here in the circles, and always got along with Andy. He's a great guy, and he's always taken time out of his day to reply to my messages should I have any questions and stuff. So yeah, I tip my hat off to Andy, and he kindly put me forward for an interview with Talk Radio recently, which is quite a big radio station here in the UK, and that was very kind of him. So Andy, thank you for doing that, mate. I really appreciate that. And I guess the reason that Talk Radio wanted to talk to somebody like me was because here in the UK we've recently had a news article come out from the Daily Star that claims somebody down at Cannock Chase has found a big footprint and some claw marks on a tree there. Now, I shared my thoughts and my opinions on that. I've got nothing personal against the guy who come forward and said that he found this. Nothing at all. So that's not me casting shadow in his direction. I'm sure he's got his reasons for why he faked it, or maybe he didn't even know it was faked. Maybe somebody planted that there knowing that he operates in the area and would find it. Who knows what the story is behind this recent discovery. But yeah, so just while we're on the subject, you guys have probably seen the article. If you haven't, I'll put a picture up now. But I didn't have to beat around the bush. I didn't have to hide about my feelings towards this, because I've always said that I don't believe it is a flesh and blood creature here in the UK. So it's no secret to what I think. I don't think it is genuine. I don't think it is a real discovery down at Cannock. But that's only because my opinion is that it's extraterrestrial here in the UK. If it was found in Canada, then yeah, I would say that that was genuine, or could be genuine. But here in the UK, for me, I think it's extraterrestrial. And then you might say, well, why can't it be extraterrestrial if he's found a footprint here in the UK? And I just think that why would something come from such a distance, or wherever it's come from, through another porthole or a dimension, to scratch a tree, to claw a tree? That's kind of like animalistic behaviour. Again, it's just my mindset. I could be completely wrong. Everyone has their own opinions and beliefs as to why they say yes to one thing and no to another thing. But for me, here in the UK, whatever this thing is that people are seeing is extraterrestrial, or able to slip through portals and dimensions. So I guess we could say even supernatural to some degree, but I don't think it's flesh and blood. And yeah, that's it. That's my opinion. I went on there. It was a great experience, and I really enjoyed it. So Andy, thank you for that, mate. I really appreciate that. Another day, another fighter plane. Well, I overestimated that, because I thought I got the length of it right, but it's obviously too big still, so I need to cut it down some more. It's always disappointing. Just making more work for myself. Massively overshot that. Brought this along with me today. Gonna leave it down here at camp. It goes missing. It's replaceable. It's not too expensive. It's just gonna make cooking a lot easier. I'll show you guys this. Difficult trying to do this with one hand. There we go. And that will go nicely over the fire. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this already, but in this black bin liner or trash bag is a camouflage net. I used to, a long time ago, hire out bell tents, and one of the packages that I offered was to boys' birthday parties as like a military theme, and I used to just throw the camouflage net over the bell tent. Kids loved it, but since then I've not done much of that, and this has just been sitting around doing nothing, so I thought I'd bring it here to the camp and throw it over the back of the shelter if I can. It is a large net, so whether I can do that on my own or not is a different matter. I've got my firewood pile starting to build now. I still need a lot more than that. That's been in there for about a week, but each time I come back I'll continue to get a load more firewood prepped and stuck inside the shelter, and eventually that will build up and I won't have to struggle every time. I can just come and make a fire, which is always handy when you're tired from the trek down here or doing other little bits and bats around camp. I've put the fleece blanket down now, again, which is a luxury item. It's nice to be able to sit down on something comfy and have some food, which I'm about to do now. So I'm going to get some food on, get a drink of water, and chat to you guys about some of these amazing things that take place in our world and everywhere around us. Whether you choose to believe them or not, they are happening, or to some people they're happening, and it's a very fascinating subject. So let's get some food on and chat. What was that? I think we've just experienced an earthquake. I think we've just experienced an earthquake, and I'm not kidding. The whole ground, in fact, the whole forest just moved. My heart is going 10 to the dozen right now. I had to literally just jump out of the shelter because that was the most freakiest thing. I won't be surprised if when I get home it's on the radio or the news or something that there was an earthquake, because that was insane. I tried to get my phone out of my pocket as quick as I could to press record, but the camera was facing the opposite way and I was fumbling trying to get in the camera to face the right way. What the hell was that? I'm going to go straight on Google right now and just have a Google. Guys, I can't tell you what just happened. It's all right, Lil. It's all right, babe. She's terrified. The whole woods just moved. And the sky almost, I don't know what happened, the sky almost exploded. All the birds and everything just went crazy for a good 5-minute period before it happened. I've never experienced anything like that in my life, ever. I don't know what that was, but my heart is jumping out of my chest. I'm going to go straight on social media right now and see if anyone's reported that, because whatever that was powerful, insanely powerful. Honestly, I'm lost for words. I'm absolutely lost for words. I've never experienced anything like that. Sitting in that shelter as well, the whole shelter just moved. I thought it was going to come down on me. In fact, that's what I thought was happening. I thought the shelter was coming down, so I jumped out. And when I stood outside the camp, I realised the floor was like moving and the sky was exploding, like huge bangs in the sky. That was terrifying, guys. I'm not sure what that was, like I've said. But that was something very, very weird. I'm going to go with earthquake. That's the only thing I can think of. But I don't know why we'd have explosions or the sound of banging in the sky. I don't know. I thought it was thunder as well. Like, I was mixed between the shelter coming down and then I thought for a split second, maybe that's thunder. I'm lost for words. I'm going to go straight on social media right now. If I find out what that was, guys, I'll let you know and keep you updated. I'm anticipating it happening again as well, which is quite a worrying thing. Lily's cowering. What the hell was that? Okay, so it looks like I'm going to be stuck for light, because this is the problem when you're working in the woods and you get in the zone. You've got your head down a lot of the time, sawing wood or chopping branches off the pieces that you need. Then you stand back up and the next thing you know, it's dusk and you've got like literally half an hour's worth of light left. So I really need to start making a move, otherwise it's going to mean me walking back out of here across the moors on my own in the pitch black. Now the terrain getting here is treacherous, so there's that in my way in terms of obstacles, but just the creepiness of walking back in the dark. I've done it once before, wasn't too keen, don't fancy doing it again, so I really do need to start making a move, get a coffee on and get some food on if that's what I'm planning on doing, which I am. So just to give you guys a heads up, I've got the first piece of this wood down now. This is going to be the bottom layer of the largest wall at this camp. Coming around this side, you can see now this blue is starting to disappear slowly. It's just going to need a lot more of this layering and a lot more of the duff off the ground throwing on top. Coming around the other side, you can see the same is happening. All this layering is beginning to come further and further down. Eventually that blue will go, and as I said, just grab some more of this duff off the floor, this loose stuff, sticks, this mossy type stuff, and just throw that on top, and eventually it will all blend in. Now I'm not too bothered about this looking neat on the outside, because there is a method behind the madness when you've got these branches poking out left, right, all over the place, different sizes, different shapes, what that does is break up the natural shape of a shelter. And that is natural camouflage. That is what we used in the army. The whole idea of being camouflage is to break up the natural formation of the head, shoulders and feet. And that's why we wear ghillie suits and we put leaves and branches in our helmets, because it breaks up the natural form that people are looking for. These things stick out to the human mind like a sore thumb. Anyone walking through here could miss this once it's finished, because it just looks like the surrounding area. I'm thinking about just using the gas cooker because it is getting dark now. Normally I would boil the water on the fire, but I'll probably just use this because it's quicker. And I only really want a cup of coffee and some noodles, so I won't exactly call that food. Guys, I'm still reeling from what just happened. Like I said, I've never experienced anything like that. I'm just absolutely devastated that I never picked it up because I was fumbling around trying to get my phone. Well, what was happening really is I was stacking up the sides, as I've just spoke to you guys about. I was layering up the sides with more wood. And then I thought, right, I'll get some food on now, it's getting dark. So I sat in the shelter for a little bit, about to get my stuff out, and I heard what sounded like thunder, really loud thunder, and nothing like your typical thunder. This was explosions, like. So I thought, what the hell, that's not, what's going on? Like, the weather just does not warrant thunder. And then I thought, shit, I bet I've piled too many logs on the side of the shelter and it's now coming in. So I quickly jumped out of the shelter and realised that it wasn't that. The whole forest was moving. The birds were going crazy, Lily was whining. I don't know what that was. Now, it could be one of two things. I'm thinking it was either an earthquake, like a tremor, or maybe a fighter plane overhead went supersonic. I don't know, but I never heard a fighter plane. And I don't know if there's explosions associated with earthquakes. I've put it on social media, no one's come back to me just yet, but the signal is terrible here, so I'll probably get my answers off other people when I get home. But guys, my heart, I mean, what an experience, but what the hell just happened? Bizarre, completely bizarre. Isn't that beautiful? It's mine. You can sit up here, it's nice and warm for you. So darkness is coming in now. I'm sure the temperature's dropped as well, but because I've been working and just concentrating on getting the food and the drink on, you don't seem to feel it. It's when you stop that it really gets you. I was talking to a good friend of mine last night, and we was talking about how we can better our chances, how we can implement certain things to increase the chance of finding something or seeing something. And I said that going into 2022, I want to do things differently. There's got to be better ways. And better doesn't always mean more sophisticated, more high tech. It just means a different way of doing things. We've all seen the people go out there with game cams, trail cams, and we've all seen people do the Ouija board stuff and all these different things, and they're brilliant. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with them. I just think that we need to expand our scope with the amount that we do. I've learnt this recently, in fact, on a very, very small scale. So just recently, there's a family of rats moved in where I live. I live on a farm. And there's a family of rats that have moved in. And for the first few nights, I was putting 2 or 3 traps out. and I never got anything. And it started to puzzle me because I was thinking, these rats are either super clever or they're just not attracted to the bait. So I kept this going for a week or two with just 3 traps and nothing. Maybe one rat every week, which was nothing because I was seeing like 10 or 15 of them. So I increased the amount of traps that I laid out up to about 10, and the numbers of rats just started flying in. Now, is that because the rats all of a sudden became dumb, desperate? No, it's because I increased the amount of traps that I was setting out, which also in turn increased my chances of catching them. And I guess that's the same. What I'm trying to say here is that it's all right doing the Ouija board, it's all right doing the EMF readers and all these different types of equipment that people take out with them, but we need as much of that going on at one time as possible, dotted around one specific area. And if anything's going to slip through 10, 15 instruments that we've laid out, then in my mind there's nothing in that area. Or if there is, it's out of our understanding, out of our technology and capabilities of capturing it. So yeah, I was talking to Dan last night, my friend, and he showed me something very simplistic, but again brilliant. Just wrapping a piece of duct tape or Gorilla Tape along a trail, where a game trail, where you know that deers and other animals have been going through, and I guess you could even raise it high off the ground, out of reach of things like foxes and badgers, to eliminate them, and just see after a week what hair samples are attached, if any. You dot that around here, along with trail cams, and a few other switches and tricks. You've got a really good chance of picking something up or finding something. So that's what I need to do. I need to start looking at different ways of doing this. And like I said, they don't have to be ingenious, they don't have to be expensive and technical. I'll move over, look. Up. Good girl, lie down. Down. Good girl. And so I was talking to someone else as well, Chris Turner, a good friend of mine. A lot of you guys here all know Chris, and he must have been watching the last video that I made, where I was talking about a transmitter being able to broadcast this location into space, or a message into space, anything really. And he made a very valid point, is that you don't need a transmitter really, all you need is your mind. Now, I'm not a massive believer in CE5, the Dr. Stephen Greer method of contact. We've all heard of Close Encounters of the First Kind that goes right up to Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. Well, now there is an extended one, which is CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and what that is human-initiated contact. So rather than extraterrestrials making the contact with humans, it's the other way around. And the way we do that, or the way we're able to do that, is through meditation, according to Stephen Greer. But I do believe that, and I know it sounds really, far-fetched, seems a bit woohoo, but I believe that consciousness is fascinating, and I believe that it's absolutely incredible what consciousness can do. I mean, to think that you can have a conversation with yourself in your own mind, and you can hear yourself speaking without moving your mouth. So your ears hear what you're saying without your voice ever speaking. It's unbelievable. It never shuts off. When you're asleep at night, consciousness is still awake. It's always fascinated me. And when I think about CE5, human-initiated contact with extraterrestrials, a part of me feels embarrassed. A part of me thinks I'm not doing that because this is just out of my line of thinking and my approach of doing things. It just seems a bit crazy and not me, if that makes sense. But then I've got to stand corrected, because you listen to a lot of these extraterrestrial abduction cases. Betty and Barney Hill, for example, where Barney talks about communicating with these beings through mind speak. But Barney's not the only one. A lot of these people that have been abducted talk about this. There is no verbal communication, it's all through the mind. And that's practically what CE5 is. And so, yeah, I do believe there is something to that. And I should maybe start implementing that more. Whether or not it makes me feel embarrassed or stupid, because I know there will be people watching it that probably know me thinking, what is he doing? And if I'm honest, I'll be thinking the same. Don't worry, I'll be thinking exactly the same about myself as well. But there's got to be something to it, because I do believe that they do talk telepathically. I believe people like Barney and Betty and Travis Walton, who also said the same, like they were communicating to him. He said it felt like a squirming feeling in his mind. I believe that. So if I believe that, I can't then discredit the workings of CE5. To me, that is a very close connect, that they're linked. And so I might, like I said, start implementing that and trying it out for myself. What I don't understand, sorry guys, I'm battling communicating with you guys on the camera and talking to the dog, keeping her in close, because it is dark now and I don't want her wandering away when there's deers and creepies and crawlies in this woods, leaving me by myself. As you can imagine, it's pitch black out there now. Yeah, I was saying about CE5. What I don't understand about it is if I initiate the contact, I'm calling for these extraterrestrials to come make contact. To what degree do they know to do that by? Like, how do they know that I just want to see them in the sky and I don't actually want to see them land and come over to me, which would be the case. I don't want my experience to be that. I just want to see something in the sky for now. Maybe when I gain a bit of confidence after a few times of seeing this, I might be a bit more daring and want more from them. But how do they know when I'm sat there meditating that that's all I want is just to see you in the sky? Don't land, don't come near me, don't communicate, just come in the sky and let me see you. How do they know that that's enough for me? And do they? Because if they don't, do I really want to be dabbling with this? I could be there meditating, trying to initiate the contact, and the next thing I know, they're landing in the field and walking over to me. No, I don't want that. So how does this work? That's what I can't work out at the minute. Really puzzled by what that noise was earlier. I wonder if anybody's got back to me on social media. Like I said, I'll find that out when I get home. The signal's terrible here. It's almost non-existent. Be interesting though, because it scared the life out of me. I honestly thought the shelter was coming down. I looked around and I thought, crap, the shelter's falling. And it wasn't, but I heard this wood moving. So I quickly jumped out and realised that there was explosions going on above the trees in the sky. And the whole forest floor was moving. And at that point, I don't know what I thought, apart from what the hell is going on. And at that point I tried to grab my phone and fumbled around with the camera for a little while, trying to capture my reaction to it, but it kind of passed off in that direction, rumbling and exploding in the sky over that way. So I'm not sure what the hell was going on. Yeah, weird. I wish Lily would get on this bed. You know, I've got this real nice fleece laid out here for her. It's really thick and it's warm, but she still chooses to go lie on the forest floor. Quick story about Lily. She was actually born on the forest floor in Romania. So she was literally born in the forest. It's where she spent all her life up until the time she was shipped over here to come live with me. And you've never seen an appreciation for the forest as much as when you see Lily in one, because it's like a home away from home. She just goes absolutely crazy for it. She loves it. It's real nice to see, and she's so at home here. Like, I mean, I've been out here on times when it's freezing, and I've actually tried to throw blankets on the floor. I've tried to, like I said, throw blankets on this bed for her to get up and lie down, but she'd much rather be on the forest floor, which is weird to me, but you can't force her to do what she doesn't want to do. The story goes that when Lily was born in Romania, in the woods, in the forest, her mother used to carry her along to the nearest village and try and beg for scraps to feed her. But some of the locals there were horrible. They would goad her in with food and then hit her over the head and basically abused her whole life. Her and her mum had a very, very bad life. Her mum was chained up for a lot of the time before she broke free and ran into the forest to give birth to Lily. And that's when I came across her on social media at a rescue centre, and we paid to get her shipped over here, and she's been happily under our roof ever since. So It's sad, really, because she's terrified of people. Like, she loves people. If she gets to know you and stuff over a period of time, she loves nothing more than to snuggle in and have a good cuddle and stuff. But it takes a long time for Lily to bond with people. Dogs, she's perfect with. Like, she loves to play with dogs. If I take her to the beach and she sees somebody walking along with their dog, she'll keep a wide berth from them, but she'll always try and get as close to their dog as she can to try and play. And I have to tell people, like, she probably won't come near you, because you always get people trying to bend down and goad her over for a cuddle or a stroke. But I always say, don't be offended, she won't come near you, but she just wants to play with your dog. Weird. I was listening to a podcast in the car the other day, and it really got to me, like, in a negative way. It was a guy who's made a living out of tracking down government documents, classified government documents, and he's basically built up a database of over 3 million of these documents. Some of them have stuff mentioned in there about Bigfoot and UFOs, etc. And the longest he said that he waited for a document to come back was 14 years. And it wasn't even anything that flash, it wasn't anything super groundbreaking. But I just thought, like, why? This has always amazed me. I don't give two shits about government documents. I really don't care, because do you honestly think that when you receive or you send a letter off asking for these documents to be released, that you're going to get in these documents what you expected? These are the people that are trying to keep it from you. They're not then going to hand it over because you asked nicely. For all we know, they might keep special documents for the higher ranking officials, the higher ups, but they're never going to give that to people down at our level. Never. And you might send a request form off to receive one of these classified documents, and it turns up through your door a year or two later, and you're over the moon thinking, oh my god, I did it, I got a classified document from the government, they actually broke and sent me. Did they? Or did they just retype a new one out, worded exactly how they wanted it to be worded? You're never going to get the official version of anything. I mean, can you imagine trying to send off for the official documents of Rendlesham Forest? Sure enough, you might receive them, but is it genuine? Or have they just retyped them somewhere else and said, oh, just type me something up there. It doesn't matter what it is. Just, you know, mention one or two things about lights in the sky and stuff. Take all the good stuff out. Just fire it off to his address. Keep him quiet for a bit. That's probably what's going on. I mean, if we look at Building 7 at NASA, Gary McKinnon said that before any schools, colleges, universities, or anything like that gained pictures to be published in books of space, they were all airbrushed out. You know, these schools that have textbooks where kids learn about space and there's all these pictures in there and stuff. Well, before those pictures ever were entered in that book, they went through a Building 7 at NASA where they airbrushed anything out, any anomalies out. Now, if they're doing that with photos and pictures, they're going to do it with documents. There's no way anybody's receiving. This is why I never get excited about the times when people say, oh, have you heard that all the classified files have been released? I don't care. It's the same every single time. Look at who's releasing the files. What is in it for them? They've hid these files away for over 60 years, say, 50 years. And you've asked nicely and received them. What is in it for them? Why would they have gone through all that trouble to classify them, to keep them for so long, just to hand them over to you because you asked nicely? It makes no sense. You aren't getting the genuine files, and nobody will ever see them, ever. I just don't know why people get excited about that stuff. But Ben, they've got to show us, and they've got to be genuine, because it's a Freedom of Information Act that we've implemented here, and if they don't follow that, they'll get prosecuted in serious trouble. Will they? Do you think the people that make the rules care about the rule that you're trying to implement on them? It's absolutely mental, like, to think like that. We've made this rule where it's a Freedom of Information Act, and it means that you, Joe Public, can send us this request off, and we have to give you what you ask for because of this Freedom of Information Act. Can we? Yeah, no, it's true. You send me that letter. I've made the rule. You send me the letter, and I'll give you what you want. Oh, brilliant, thanks. Oh, look, we've received Freedom of Information Act. Shall we tell them about Roswell, what really happened? No. Right, I'll just type something else up then, shall I? Yeah, that'll do. Crazy. Crazy to think like that. But yeah, this guy, he's been doing it since he was 15, so he's been doing it over 30 years apparently. Sending off these Freedom of Information Acts to the government and getting all excited when the government send him a form back with information. How gullible do you have to be? I think I've already mentioned it tonight in this chat, is that I never get excited. I never get excited when people say, oh, have you heard? The MOD are going to release all the files. No, they're not. No, they are not. Because they don't have the power. They get told to release what they get told to release, and that is it. And I can guarantee you now it's none of the juicy stuff. Ever. It never will be. They just like people to think that... and I'm going off a tangent here, but I even believe it with voting. They have to make the people at this level, me and you, feel like we have choices. Because if we don't have choices, we're just... what are we? So when we go vote at a polling station, I've never believed it. How do you know what happens to that tick in the box once you've put it through the letterbox? You don't know. And it's been proven time and time again that the voting stations are corrupt. They've done everything they can to swing votes in one way or in one particular direction or another. It doesn't stop with voting. Like I've said, these classified files. Guys, we don't have choices. We don't have choices. People might say, yeah, we do. We get to choose whether we want the COVID jab or not. No, you don't. Look at what's happening. If you don't get the COVID jab, now you're not going on holiday. If you don't get the COVID jab, soon you won't be allowed in pubs and restaurants. We don't have choices, guys. We don't. We're just led to believe that we do, so we don't start an uprising. And that's facts. Right, I'm going to get packed away. It's pitch black dark out there now, and I can't see anything. So I'm going to have to use this torchlight to get back to the car. You guys have been awesome, as always. Please, if you have enjoyed this little night out with me, give this one a thumbs up. Drop down in the comments box below. If I've said anything tonight that's offended you, please understand and be aware that that is never my intentions. I am a person who speaks my mind. My mind isn't always right. I'll be the first to admit that. But we have to do that. We have to express ourselves and open up to certain issues in our life or beliefs that we have, because if we don't, what is it all about? Never shy away from that. Never shy away from believing in something or thinking differently to other people and keeping quiet because it is different. Never do that. So yeah, you guys have been awesome. Like I said, thank you for sticking this one out with me. Thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop down in the comments box below. It's always nice to talk to you guys. I'm sorry I'm keeping you a bit long now, but yeah, take it easy wherever you are in the world. Look after yourselves, guys. And if you are in a position to do so, this is a big one. Please do look after somebody else as well. Until next time, guys, I'll see you on the next one.